Are you ready to take your real estate business to the next level? In today's video, we're going to be talking about using short form video to increase your reach, get more engagement, and ultimately grow your business. Let's get into it. Now let's move on to how do we push this content out with the least amount of effort and get the most amount of value out of it so that you can add this into your business and not take up your entire day. I suggest at a bare minimum you do the 4 main ones: TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and of course, YouTube Shorts. Now you can also add in Facebook stories and LinkedIn videos. Those are a slightly different strategy. That's why I haven't been hitting on them a whole lot, but you can definitely push it to those as well. And the effect is still going to be very strong. Now with Facebook stories, it's a little bit different because the timer is so short, but you can definitely repurpose some of them over there, maybe just not everything. So when you shoot it off platform, you can then repurpose it to all of them. Now, you can definitely go into one of them, use the editing tools that they have, create it, and then throw it into something on the internet like repurpose.io, or there's a bunch of other websites out there that pull the watermark out of the video so that you can then download it and then upload it to Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube Shorts completely separately. Whichever one works for you. I'm not going to tell you which one's best for you because everybody's a little bit different. And repurpose.io is an outstanding tool to use. We are just now starting to use this, so I'm getting my feet wet with it a little bit. I use virtual assistants a lot in our business here, and our social media girl is outstanding. She just kind of does all of this for us, so it's been really nice for us. But repurpose.io is a great tool that I'm looking at to see if it will help her further. One of the things that I like about repurpose.io, outside of the fact that it pulls the watermark out, for those of you that don't know, by the way, before I go too much further, when you do a video on TikTok, if you try to download that video from the platform, it's going to have a little TikTok, little watermark popping up randomly on the video. If you throw that on Instagram, Instagram's not going to push that video near as hard. So you're going to really hurt your traffic. You don't want to do that. And that same vice versa on Instagram. It'll put a little Instagram watermark on there. I don't know about Facebook and YouTube Shorts, but the point is, you definitely want to try to push away from using one platform and then pushing that video to the other platforms. A lot of the reason is because it's going to have a back-end meta tag, so it's going to know that you did that there. TikTok doesn't want you to post it on Instagram, and Instagram doesn't want to see it from TikTok, and vice versa. You can do that web however makes sense. So by shooting it off platform, creating the product, and then uploading it separately is a good thing to do. Now with repurpose.io, you can do it straight into one platform and it will readjust everything and upload it automatically to the other ones if you so choose. It's basically a built-in Zap tool that's just going, okay, cool. Once this is done, I'm going to pull it out of here and put it here, here, and here, remove the watermarks, upload it with these tags, everything. So you can do everything right there in the system. Now, again, we're not using it fully yet, so I am just kind of getting my feet wet, but just based on the research I've done, it seems like it's going to be a phenomenal tool to really, really, really push. You can also use tools like Metricool, and there's a bunch of other ones out there. You can just Google short form video tools. I'm sure a ton of them will come up. Push the content out, get used to doing it for a while, and then start adding tools into your business to make it easier. Unless you're already swamped, then of course, either find leverage and help through virtual assistants or in-house assistants or one of your agents or what have you, or just go and use these tools outright and learn them as you go. Whatever works best for you. What's really cool about repurpose.io is it's not just these platforms either. There's a bunch of other options. You can also put a video up in Google Drive in a certain folder, and it will pull it out and start plasting it all over these platforms to make it way easier for you. You can do this on Dropbox. There's a bunch of other cool things you can do with it too. I'll leave that up to you to research a little bit, and at some point I will probably do a separate video where I break down how to build out everything on these and the tools and stuff, but that will be for another video. And if you were like, well, what the heck am I going to edit these in? CapCut is a very useful tool to use. There are a bunch of other ones. I know Apple's got their own proprietary. I think even Adobe products have their own mobile version of editing tools now. Play around with them all and figure out which one works the best for you. I'm not going to tell you which video editing software to use because some of them are more robust than others, and some people are more technologically savvy and they might want more tools versus somebody else that might want less. Now, let's get into some tactics and strategies that will really help make this a little bit easier for you so it doesn't feel as daunting. And if it does feel daunting already, it feels a little bit complicated just based on watching this video, I promise you once you dive into it, it's actually way easier than it seems. Now, the general rule of thumb is to push out a bunch of videos on all of these different platforms until you learn them. That's the generalized strategy, okay? So that's going to work for most people, at least until you start figuring out what the platforms do and a little bit more detailed tactics on it. I might discuss this stuff in the future about what the actual strategies are and a little bit more fine-tuning, but they change so quickly, especially right now, as it seems like there's kind of a race war between all of the different short-form content pillars. Everybody's trying to become the main one, that the algorithms are just changing very quickly. So for right now, just pouring content out there is a good strategy for most people. In fact, I generally suggest 3 to 4 videos per day, at least per working day. Don't have to worry about this if you don't work Sundays or Saturdays or something like that. And this will give you a pretty steady stream of content to push out to your people. And this will also help you learn each one of the systems to go, okay, cool, on this platform we need to go a little bit less, on this one a little bit more, and then kind of play with it from there. But what this is going to do is it's going to force you to get out of that little comfort zone. It's going to force you to just push a bunch of content out there. Now don't post the content that you know is just utter garbage. If you're looking at it and going, this isn't helpful to anybody, don't post that one. It's fine. That's why you're doing 3 or 4 a day, so that if one of these every single day sucks, you still got 3 pieces of content a day, 5 days a week. That's 15 pieces of content a week. Personally, for us, we are pushing out more than 80 pieces of content per week over all of the platforms, but that's because I have leverage. I have a little bit of help. So if you're not there yet, that's fine. Start with 10, start with 5, start with 15. Just pick a number and then make that your goal. I suggest, again, 3 to 4 per day. Now, I know you're looking at this going, holy cow, that was a lot. Okay, cool. Scale it back. Scale it back. If you only want to do 1 a day, that's perfectly fine too. Just get your feet wet in it and start learning it. But the more you do, the faster you'll get over that little hump. And of course, it will help you get rid of that little fear of being in front of the camera that we all get at some point. Now, I've been shooting video for 8 years now, pretty consistently. In fact, I used to do a lot of Facebook Lives and stuff. So for me, I'm a little bit more comfortable with it, but that's all right if you are not. Just start getting it out there and start getting uncomfortable fast. Now, how are we going to push this amount of content? My suggestion is time block several hours per week. It generally takes me about 2 to 3, but it might take you a little bit more in the beginning to shoot all of your videos for the whole week, or heck, if you can, the whole month. Once you get in a rhythm of doing it, it's going to be a lot at first, let's be honest. But batch shooting content is a great way to get this all done. You sit there with all 15 of your ideas for the week, let's say, and you shoot maybe 18 of them or 20 of them just because some of them are going to be duds. Now, that seems like a lot of pieces of content. There are lots of ways to get around this. Number 1, you can just straight out go into Google and type in stuff around your topic. Hey, what do people need to know about home inspections when buying a home? And then you'll see people also ask for, and then a bunch of questions. This is Google's way of telling you exactly what other people are searching. So open up a few of those and it'll open up, close them again, open, close, open, close, open, close. Do that to a bunch of them and it'll just keep giving you more. It'll give you more until the end of the moon. If you do it long enough, you'll end up in a different topic, I'm telling you. Pick out 5 or 10 of those comments, throw them in an Excel spreadsheet if you want, or write them down in a Word document, wherever you want to get to them, in notes in your phone. This way you always have those little content ideas there. You can also go to answerthepublic.com or askthepublic.com. We'll throw it on the screen, whichever one it actually is. Once per day, you can go on there and put a topic, and it will give you like 100 different questions around that topic of what people are searching. You can also go into Google AdWords and search your topic, and it'll give you a bunch of other suggested topics that people are Googling around your niches and around those pillars. This is why it's so important to have those pillars up so that you don't sit there and go, well, what am I doing today? I don't know. You have it and you're going, okay, great. Virtual home tours or buyer tips, and you type in buyer tips, you get a bunch of ideas, you put them down on a sheet of paper, you flip your camera around on the back end, you hit record, and you just shoot a ton. You go into your editor, you splice them up into a bunch of different videos, upload them, edit them at a different time. In my suggestion, I don't suggest you shoot one and edit. It is a different part of your brain to do all of this. I'm telling you, it's just a lot easier. I was doing it that way. In fact, every once in a while I still do it that way, mainly when I'm just like thinking about a topic on the spot and I'm like, cool, let's shoot this real quick. But I'm telling you, it's a lot harder to do it that way. And of course, one of my favorite ways to get content is going on the platform that you like the most itself. For me, it's TikTok right now, just because I'm really trying to learn it and trying to build a little bit of a brand there, which, by the way, go follow me on there. I'll throw it up on screen. I'd really appreciate it. Give a ton of little like micro tips and stuff that I don't put in these videos. But nonetheless, that's the one I use. I'm going to go into different trending topics that are around my subject matter. And over time, as you watch a bunch of this stuff, that's what your For You page will be filled up with. And you can just scroll through there and see what other real estate agents are doing, see what other, for me, real estate coaches or trainers are doing, because that's kind of the realm that I'm doing on TikTok versus the actual, hey, buyer and seller strategy. I leave that for my agents. But that's a great way to get some of your content. You see what other people are doing, put it in your own words, or stitch it or collab it or something like that. And then you've got some video content there. Now the stitches and the collaborations and stuff, sometimes that's hard. That's a little bit harder to put from one platform to another. So just keep that in mind, that might not be the best strategy long term, but it is good whenever stuff pops up. Have a little time block just for shooting the videos, but also have a short time block for getting new videos. And of course, another time block for editing these. Once you get a little bit better at all of this strategy goes and only takes a little bit of time. In fact, generally when I'm batch shooting mine, it takes me about 3 hours total, including research, including shooting, and including doing all the editing. And this is for about 3 videos per day. Now, I understand that time blocking is difficult for some people. We get busy, a lot of things are happening. Just try to throw it in your calendar. There's a ton of different strategies out there. I'm not going to go over that stuff in this video. I'm telling you, once you put this in and it's habitual, it's a lot easier and you get much faster at this. I preach that everybody should be doing 3 hours of prospecting per day. If you're a full-time agent, there's no reason why you shouldn't. That is literally your main job. And so if you did this an hour a day, if you weren't going to batch it, you could do it an hour a day, and that's just one of your pillars. Now, once you actually start posting some of the videos, make sure that you guys are replying to everything. Absolutely everything for the time being. Once you get to a certain subscriber count or a certain view count, it does start getting a little bit more difficult, and that's okay. You can start easing back then. But in the beginning, you want to create an audience and you want to create community, most importantly. And you're going to do that by replying to everybody, even if it's just an emoji. Somebody gives you a little clap thing and says, great job, just do a little smiling emoji or a thumbs up, thanks. And for somebody that is actually trying to add to the conversation, have a conversation with them. And on some of the platforms, you can even reply to their replies. This is really good to do, even for the trolls. I know a lot of us, we don't want to post because of these trolls. Some of these platforms are going to create trolls. People are hiding behind the keyboard. They're angry at life. It's okay. Let them be frustrated. Anytime I see some nasty comment on there, I'm just like, man, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I'm not going to let it get to me because your life isn't what you want it to be. Anybody that's going to spend that kind of time to write, you look silly or something dumb like that, that's fine. Let them go. Or reply to it and call them out, especially if you have a justifiable argument for something. If they say something or mouth off on something that just isn't accurate, this is a great time to call them out. If they're going to be a troll them right back with a video. I promise you'll win in the end. All right, Mongo, now we've done this and we're posting. Now we need to start figuring out when to post. For most accounts, from 3 p.m. to about 7 p.m., maybe all the way as late as 9 p.m., will generally yield a little bit better results. Once you've done a ton of videos, maybe once you've done 100 videos, 50 videos, stop. Look at your analytics from every single one of the platforms that you're doing. They all have an analytics section, and you can see exactly when people are watching. YouTube will give you this great little graph with these pink bars, and it'll just say, hey, this is when most of your people are on there. Just shoot the video a little bit before then. TikTok's the same way, Instagram's the same way, Facebook's the same way. You can look at all of this. Don't get too caught up in when to post. Focus first on getting the content out and getting consistent before you worry about everything else. I kind of mentioned this earlier when I was talking about finding stuff in your niche, but follow the accounts of people that are doing very similar strategies as you and has the audience that you want to get. If you see somebody that's primarily getting a big audience of people wanting to move to that area, see what they're doing and get some ideas from them. R&D, rip off and duplicate. We say it all the time in this industry. It is a very common tactic. Don't feel like you're copying somebody or something. Just don't take their stuff and do it word for word. Put it in your own words. Be unique, be you, and be original. That is so important. Being completely transparent on social media is the key. So if you're a little bit more brash, be more brash. If you're a little bit more funny, be more funny. If you goof around all the time, goof around in the videos. That's perfectly fine. A lot of people want to get in here and be prim and proper and have their tie and their tuxedo on as they're shooting video or what have you. Like, you don't need to do that. You just need to be you. Now, if you do wear a tuxedo every day, you're kind of strange in my opinion, but go ahead and shoot videos that way. I'm sure it would get some attention. Another tip I have for you is don't be afraid to reshoot a video that didn't do well. I've noticed this primarily on Instagram and TikTok, and actually heck, I notice it on all of them. Sometimes we'll shoot a video that seemed like it would be good and it just completely bombs. We've actually taken that down and re-uploaded it several days later, the exact same video. We didn't change a thing and it took off. Sometimes it's just a little bit of rewording, sometimes it's bad timing, sometimes the algorithm just failed us. I don't know every single time what happened to it, but sometimes just reshooting the video will work. Sometimes shooting the video all together, the same content, just with a different hook, will yield better results. So, point is, experiment with it a little bit. If you see something that bombs, don't feel afraid to take it down, or just leave it on there and then put up a similar video down the road. It does not have to be like, oh, well, I shot a video 9 months ago about this topic, I can't do it again. No, you're going to start using some of this stuff over. This is short form content in bite-sized pieces. And a lot of the subscribers or followers you have that were from 6 months ago aren't still following you. They're off the platform. They're not watching you as much. They have 600 other people they're watching. Sometimes they just missed the video, so don't be afraid to push them. Now, trending sounds. This is really big right now, okay? Trending sounds are a great way for growth. And that's about all they're good for. You're not going to get the phone calls off trending sounds most of the time. There are variations where sometimes that does happen. You put up a really good video and it's got a cool little call to action at the end. Yeah, sometimes that happens. But for the most part, the trending sounds are just to get more eyeballs in your account. You'll get more views. Now, a lot of people get stuck in this, and then that's all I see them do on these platforms is they're dancing and they're doing the lip syncing videos, following along with the sound, and those are great. That should be a good portion of your content. But I'm telling you, if you get stuck in this little rut of just doing those, you're going to get a ton of views and it's going to feel good to the ego, but your phone is never going to ring. And what we're trying to produce here is phone calls. We're trying to have conversion here. Getting 1 million views doesn't do any good if none of those people know, like, or trust you. You see this all the time with these real estate channels that are like on YouTube, for instance, is the best example I've got, where they're all doomsday, 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 doomsday. Everything, the market's going to crash, they're always going to crash. And those people get tons of views because fear sells. But when you actually talk to those people, I know one that gets really, really good views. And when I talk to him, he said, my phone doesn't ring from this. And when it does, it's buttholes, it's buttheads, it's people that's jerks, it's people that they don't want to work with me. Sometimes they just call to curse them out. So not the greatest strategy. Remember, we're focused on phone calls, we're focused on conversion, not as much about the views. I know the views hit the ego, but guys, there's a really big difference between views and phone calls. Now, when it comes to trending videos like this, I generally suggest this to be about 25% of your content. So the next 4 little pillars is kind of what I'm going into here. This is not an exact math, but if you're doing 4 videos per day, doing one of each of these 4 that I'm going to talk about, one of those being the trending video, that will help with growth, and the other ones will help with some conversion and things. So let's get into those. The next one would be something that is engaging or educational. This is an original audio, okay? Now, your trending sounds can still be educational or engaging, but this is a very specific one. This is talking head style. This is a situation that happened to you. This is some sort of engaging video talking about, like, hey, this is what's popular in our area. What does it look like in your town? This is some sort of education that is just you talking about the home inspection process or what to look for, or that curb appeal video we were talking about before. Just something that educates or engages in your audience, and that should be about 25% as well. Now, the next one is personal videos, and this is one that gets overlooked a lot, and it doesn't need to. Just find a passion and do personal videos around that. People need to get to know you, or it's going to be a lot harder for them to call you. And the one that gets overlooked the absolute most is some sort of social proof or value add. Okay, this could be a guide that you're giving away. Let's say a guide to moving your area. Like we have on our channels hurricane guides and evacuation guides, because we live in Florida, we get hurricanes, flooding guides, we've got buying your first home guides, we've got buyer consultation guides, we've got just any sort of guide that we can give you, we're going to try to do very similar to in this video, where I've got a checklist down below for you guys to actually go on there. I'm trying to provide value so that you guys are going, oh great, this was really helpful. And for those of you that will actually utilize it and it is helpful for your business, it will most likely help bring you back to me to watch a little bit more of these videos and help increase your business, which increases my happiness because that's what I am here for. That's just one small example, so make sure that you're doing that kind of stuff. You guys can create guides out of nowhere. There's tons of them out there. A lot of CRMs already have some pre-built for you. You've got other tools that will have a bunch of these as well. Now, you're not going to be able to do a link right away in most of these platforms, but on some of them you can, and on some of them you'll need to have a certain amount of followers or subscribers before you can put this link that gives that value. But in the meantime, you can do social proof. This is one of your client testimonials. This is, social proof can be a lot of things. Reviews. It could be just text messages people sent you that were like, thank you, this is so amazing. It could be a video of you. This is one of my favorites, by the way. One of my agents does this. She does a video of her telling a buyer client that their offer got accepted, or a seller client that their offer got accepted, their counter offer got accepted, or what have you. And I think these go over really well. They show that you're working, they show that your clients really enjoy you, and they show that natural reaction, even if sometimes it's a little aggressive. But really fun stuff there. Just make sure that you're doing that kind of stuff, because that's what's going to help conversion out the most. If you've made it this far in the video, I do appreciate you. Please go ahead and hit that like button so you can help us reach a few more people. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and then ding that little bell so that you'll be notified every single time I do a new video. And as always, if you need to reach out to me, if you have any questions, or of course you'd like to find out why I picked up and moved my whole team over into LPT Realty, well, all of my information will pop up on the screen. I'd love to chat. That's all I've got for you now. I guess I'll see you guys next week.